Okay, so it is finally time to get this pasture going. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here. It is the end of September 2020. So the day that Lori and I have been waiting for is finally here. It is planting time. So what we're going to start with is going to be our poultry pasture. That's where we're at today. Today is September 26th, 2020. We've been waiting for the temperatures to get below 100 degrees for our high temps, and it looks like we finally have that today, and leading into next week we're in the mid-90s. So definitely time for us to go ahead and get seed in the ground here on the pasture. So I'm going to go ahead and link our playlist here where we talk a little bit about turning desert land into pasture. Now we do have some experience doing this. On the old farm, you'll see that in the playlist. We had established a pasture for our chickens on that farm. Now the base to that is a lot what you're going to be seeing today, and we've taken a lot of the lessons that we learned on that pasture and we're bringing them here on this one. First thing we should talk a little bit about is the fact that this ground is now ready for seed. One of the things that we learned there very quickly is we had to get the ground tilled and broken up because it's so hard and compacted. We did that several weeks ago, and now this ground is ready to go ahead and receive those seeds and start putting roots down. This pasture is specifically for chickens. We may have other poultry on here, so maybe I should say poultry, but it definitely is a poultry pasture. That's really what we're focused on here. We'll be primarily running our broiler chickens only in the winter time, so that's fall through spring. And what we put into our pasture mix is really geared towards that. Now this pasture is located between our house and our chicken run, which you'll see in the back. That's our egg layers. We do have a small door on that run that will allow the egg layers to come out onto this pasture as well. So we'll give them some free range time in addition to the broilers that we will be raising in the wintertime. Now here in Arizona, we only have a few options when it comes to grass. We have Bermuda grass, which is very common and really can be kind of a pain, especially when you're dealing with other things that you're trying to grow. They essentially overtake everything. Now, one of the things you might pick up here on camera, looking at the back of the pasture, is we will have some bush type trees right up against that run to help shade that run. What we don't want is we don't want Bermuda grass really competing and probably out-competing any trees or plants that we try to plant there. So we definitely don't want to be putting Bermuda seed into the ground. Now in addition, we won't be running our broiler pastures in the summertime, which is when Bermuda actually survives and thrives. Because of that, we're really limited on what we can put as far as the base or the grass in this pasture. So we're going to go ahead and use our old standard from the last one that worked really, really well, and that would be perennial ryegrass. Now this is from Home Depot. You can find this at the big box stores. We do have it with fertilizer on there, and that's because we have absolutely no soil life whatsoever down here on the ground. So we definitely wanted to have something that would help kickstart the germination here in the early fall, which it definitely needs. So got plenty of ryegrass, and again, that will be our base because this is what grows best in the wintertime here in Arizona. We're hopeful that with the perennial nature of this particular variety, that maybe we can get those roots to survive through summer. So this being the base, this is not the only thing as far as seeds that we're going to be putting in the ground today. We also have 3 more seeds that we'll be putting down today. Now the goal, before I explain these, is to get this pasture started. We do have broilers. We plan on having broilers this fall, and we'd like to try to have this up and running by beginning of November, December is really kind of what we're shooting for. So what we have in addition to the ryegrass is we do have alfalfa. Alfalfa would be a nitrogen fixer, so we're going to be adding alfalfa into the mix. Alfalfa actually grows really well here in the valley and is a great forage for the chickens. We also will be putting daikon radish down on this pasture very lightly. Now that actually is a mining root, so that will go down into our soil, which is mineral rich, heavy minerals in the soil. Help get some of those minerals pulled to the top, and we can cut these back and actually help with establishing some soil biology here in this dead dirt. Lastly, you're going to see white clover, again, another nitrogen fixer. So we have the clover going down in addition to the other types of seeds, again, as something else in the pasture to help get it up and running. Well, a couple other things that we're going to be utilizing today. We will be using some fish emulsion. We're going to be doing that specifically so that we can get some additional nitrogen down on the ground to help with seed germination. You'll see us putting that on. We are going to be basically hand watering. You'll see the oscillating sprinklers there. We're going to be utilizing those. Obviously, we're here. It's very, very warm still. We'll have to water pretty heavy in order to get this thing going. The hopes, of course, eventually we won't need quite as much, but we are going to be utilizing those. In addition, we're going to be utilizing straw. That straw hopefully has some barley and or wheat, whatever cereal grass it was grown. We'll be using that as a cover to help keep some of the bird pressure off of these newly established seeds. Now what Lori and I need to do is actually get this ground wet so it's ready to receive these seeds. We have this wet, but still very warm and dry. We need to really hustle when it comes to getting this seed down. The first thing we're going to be putting down is the perennial rye. Going to seed this nice and heavy. So what you'll see us doing, you'll see Lori going ahead, spraying down the ground again. I'll be going behind her and spreading this nice and broadcast all over the ground. So we have the ryegrass down. Now we need to, again, hustle. We've got alfalfa. Now, these three we bought on Amazon. We have them in our Amazon affiliate page shop. We'll leave a link down in the description, but we do have alfalfa up next. So this is not seeded near as heavy as the rye is. So shouldn't take too long to go ahead and get this one spread. Next up is going to be the clover. So this is white Dutch clover. Again, not going to be seeding this near as heavy as the ryegrass. Last thing is going to be daikon radish. So this is going to be very, very light. I don't want this all over the place. I am going to use the hand spreader, but it's going to be kind of intermittently just kind of throwing it. But let's go ahead and get this on the ground. So next thing up is some manual labor. Time to get these seeds raked into the ground. We have all the seed down. Now it's time for the straw. So like I was saying before, this will be to cover that seed to help it germinate, keep it a little bit moist, also protect it from birds. In addition, there should be plenty of seeds in here that we'll be dropping in there as well. We don't have any cereal, barley or rye or wheat today, but we will be getting some of that seed out of this straw here. So this one we got at a local feed shop. I think it was about $9 a bale, so an inexpensive way to cover your seed. Last thing we're going to do before we get the watering set up, which will actually be tonight, is we need to go ahead and get some fish emulsion on there. Now we're going to dilute this to the standard dilution. So I've got about 3 gallons here, so that's about 9 to 10 tablespoons. I'm just going to call it half a cup of fish emulsion into this tank. And then what we're going to do is basically just apply this directly on top of the straw. That straw will help soak in some of this nutrition, let it bleed out into the ground as it continues to water. So hopefully we can get all of these seeds started this week. So like that, we are done. So we have this pasture at least seeded. Now we definitely have some warm weather. We're under the hundreds, which is really kind of what we were going for. We're getting down into the 60s at night, so we want to make sure we can germinate all the seeds really well. I think a couple things that I just wanted to point out. First thing is, obviously we're here in the desert. It's a little bit different for us as far as timing on when we're putting this in. We did choose to do straw as opposed to manure. You can do manure, but we chose to do straw because we wanted to do something that hopefully won't have quite as much residual pesticides and herbicides as you might find in cow manure. I've heard a few different things with concerns with that. And then of course the smell, we're not big fans of that either. I'd rather have a little bit of fish emulsion smell for a while until the seeds get established. However, for now, I think we've got this thing ready to go. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. Our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with that link, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. One other thing, our Healthy Farm Living channel, that is a new channel that Lori and I have up and running. I'll leave a link down below. That's where we talk about all the things we do in and around the farmhouse to stay as healthy as we possibly can. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.